Welcome to Courageously Go, where we will venture into places we've been afraid to go. Women of the world, we are going to start a movement towards courage. Hello, everybody. My name is Debbie DePietro, and I am the host of this show, and I'm so glad that you are here with us. This is our mission, to facilitate a global conversation about courage. Why are we doing this? Well, I believe that when we live from our hearts by choosing courage, the life of our dreams, and a better world for all are possible. No matter our age or circumstances, we never, ever, ever need to feel stuck or alone. Our essential truths are as follows. I choose courage. I use my voice. I embrace the new. I welcome challenge. I continue to grow. I am a woman of action. I courageously go. And if any of those statements resonate with you, then you are most certainly in a good place. And I'm really glad that you chose to join us here today. Well, today I want to bring on this week's guest, and this is actually a friend of mine. She's here locally here in Jacksonville, Florida, where I am. And we've had Karen on before. Her name is Karen Demuth, and she's just one of the most courageous people that I know. She's not only my friend, and she's just a wonderful person to have in my life, but she's doing a mom and a wife and a member of our community doing a lot of great work. And I just can't wait to just bring her on, and you guys can learn more about what she's up to. So Karen, welcome to Courageously Go.
Thank you so much, Debbie. It's so nice to be back here with you again.
I agree, and I'm glad we had the chance. I guess the word about the show is kind of catching on, so I'm really booking fast, and I'm glad we were able to get you on as soon as we did, and I'm glad that we'll have the chance to share some updates. So just why don't we, for the benefit of the list, even if people heard our interview, that was last year, and so just a quick refresher. You have a little now. How old is Dante now?
Okay, so I have 4 children.
I have an 18-year-old.
Yeah. Yes, I have 4 children. I have an 18-year-old daughter, Karina, who's getting ready to go to college. I have a 16-year-old son, and I have a 11-year-old son who we adopted when he was 6 months old from Ethiopia when we were living in Florence, Italy for 5 years. And then I was 47 years old living in Italy, and I have to admit life was pretty sweet, pretty easy. My husband was working in Poland, and I became pregnant. And I found out at 10 weeks that I was pregnant, at 11 weeks that he had Down syndrome. And then at 5 months, we found out that he was probably missing part of his esophagus, but he was actually missing his whole esophagus. He's 9 years old now, and so much has happened to us just very quickly. We ended up needing to leave Italy for medical and financial reasons, and we went to Boston Children's Hospital, where he was going to undergo a 3 to 6 month procedure to lengthen and attach his esophagus. It didn't work. We ended up living in the ICU, Dante and I, for a year. He had 26 surgeries, over 200 days on the ventilator, numerous times with chest tubes, coding. And my husband during this whole time was going back and forth to Poland, where his business was. And my other children were in a new city. I did have some help, but it was quite an experience. And when I look back on it, I think courage is a really good word to use, because I just had to keep taking one step at a time, one day at a time, and believing that it all would be okay. It's like looking at the places that scare you. And when I look back now, honestly, it doesn't look as bad as it did while I was in the situation. And I could say that about subsequent things that have happened in our life since Dante was in the hospital. It hasn't been an easy journey. Our whole life is different than it was, both financially and socially, because there's a lot of medical issues, but it's filled with joy. We've learned a lot, and I think we're on a different path than we would have been. So, I'm very, very grateful to where we are today.
Oh, well, thank you for that. And so what should I know there's a lot we can talk about. What are you most excited about right now? What would you like our listeners to know?
Well, I'm really excited, and like I was saying, life takes you to certain paths. When Dante was about 6 years old, he's nonverbal. He's still in diapers. He has a G-tube, and he needs nurses. He needs somebody with them around the clock. But he was only playing with his battery-operated toys. So I introduced music to him, and his life just opened up. all of a sudden he was dancing around the room. He was handing instruments to people in the room, dancing with them, and then taking the instruments from one person and giving it to another. So all of a sudden he was looking up, he was interacting, he was making choices. So I went to the principal of the school where he went, Neptune Beach Elementary School, and I asked if we could start a music program, and she agreed, but there wasn't any funding. So I started Connecting Through Music, and we brought in music classes one day a week to each of the 7 classrooms of children with special needs. It has grown now to a not-for-profit. We have a 501c3, and our vision is to provide music therapy to children with special needs throughout the Northeast region of Florida. And I had to take a leap of faith because my background is nursing. I have an MBA and a nursing degree, but I've never worked in the not-for-profit world. So I'm on a very high learning curve. But I've just met so many amazing people that have been generous with their time, wisdom, knowledge, and funds to assist us on the journey.
Well, you're
so
really
yeah,
and that's not an easy endeavor. I know a lot of people who, including my brother at one point, a very long time ago, attempted to get a nonprofit going, but there's so much going into it. And I imagine I can't even imagine actually the learning curve. I've never tried to do it myself, but so you're good for you. I mean, you've been at this for, let's see, when did you first start with the Connecting Through Music?
We started with the music classes in 2016,
okay.
And we started with the music therapy a year ago, May, and we just received our 501c3 this May with the help of Courtney Walters' law firm. She saw the beauty in what we were doing, and so she offered in-kind services to us because we everything we're running with is on donations. So I'm very careful with funds, and we want to make sure that we use it as much as we can directly for the music. We now are providing music experiences and music therapy to over 150 children with special needs in Duval County, and we're looking to expand that significantly.
How does the music, what are you seeing in these children, including your son? How is the music helping or affecting them?
Well, music, there's significant research that shows that music is very, very effective for children, for a lot of people, for everybody. But for children with special needs, it works with a different side of the brain than traditional learning. So what we're seeing is that they're able to understand concepts that they don't understand without music. The older children and the cognitively available children are able to learn about numbers and money and matter and social skills. I think the biggest thing it does, it unlocks their world, and it reaches a part of them that traditional learning or other therapies do not. For me, I feel like it's the gold standard for learning for children with special needs. And it's not a nice thing. It's not an enrichment. To me, it's a right for these children. With Dante, first of all, he's motivated. He's happy. It brings him joy. But his focus is much better. He remembers things better. Even like when I'm walking with him, I'll use some of the therapies that I've watched a therapist use for counting or for helping him to put on his clothes. There's a great example that a music therapist shared with me. There was a little boy. He was about 9, and he was in a wheelchair, and he had no control of his arms, so his arms were always flailing. It took 4 assistants to help change his diapers. They taught him through music therapy to lift his hands over his head, and so while they were changing the diapers and changing him, so now it took 1. And they weren't able to teach that in any other way. So that's significant. But what about when this little boy's 22 and weighs 180 pounds? He's going to lose his choices of care providers that are able to care for him. There's more potential for issues, problems, abuse, because he'll be more aggressive. But if he's learned at a younger age how to cooperate and interact and be more independent, then his choices are going to be better. There's going to be lower costs associated, and the whole relationships. And then you need to look at what happens in the family with the siblings and the parents and the community. So to me, it's endless, and it's just beautiful. And I'm seeing that in my own home. I'm seeing that in the school. And I'm very involved I go to the National Music Therapy Association conferences. I collaborate with other music therapists because I'm not a music therapist. I'm a nurse and I'm a mother. So I have I don't pretend to know everything about music therapy, but I support it wholeheartedly, and I just have a lot of respect for the profession.
Awesome. And I think what you said just a minute ago is very important and powerful, and that you regard this as really an essential and a right rather than enrichment. I think as society, sometimes we marginalize or downplay the importance of the arts, and we think of that, we think of it as enrichment, music or art.
Mm-hmm.
But for these kids, I think that's really an important thing for people to know, that this isn't just a nice supplemental thing for these children. This is really essential to their development and their futures, and I think you communicate that really well, which is great.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, it's still a little early on our show, but I want to make sure people know how they can find out more about Connecting Through Music. So this is just such a tremendous thing that you've organized, and so how can people learn more about it and support your project here?
Well, they can go online. We have a website. It's Connecting Through THRUmusic.com. And you can also call us at 904-310-4827. We also have several Facebook pages. They're all Connecting THRU Music. And then we have NBE for Neptune Beach Elementary, MOE for Mandarin Oaks Elementary, and then we have Community because we're now in 4 different community programs for the summer programs. So
okay.
So there's several ways to reach us, or they can just call me, and talk to me about it. But we would love to hear from you, and I'm always looking for people who are interested on any level. We're looking for interested board members. We're looking for, although we have a very strong board, we're looking for donors, sponsors, musicians who would like to assist us in, raising funds or just being involved in what we're doing. We want to spread the word to the students in Duval County and beyond that music therapy is a viable career. And there's now 3 universities in Florida. There's many in Georgia where you can get a music therapy degree, and the need is only going to go up. It's a 4-year degree at the minimum. Many music therapists have a master's or a PhD, and there's an internship that goes with that. And I think what's important for people to know, it's different than being a music teacher. While a music teacher or a musician is amazing, and there's a place for that. In fact, Connecting Through Music has a arm that we offer music classes, and we teach the goals that we're teaching with music therapists, but a music therapy is teaching through music. So it's they're using the assessment process, they're using the evaluation process, they're looking at goals, they're modifying the goals, and then they're reporting it. And we're affiliating with universities. We want to have some research programs going on just to look at some of the things we're doing. So there's a lot of things we're looking to do. So anybody that's interested, I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. And once again, that's a good point. I want to make sure our listeners, are hearing this, is that this is more than you're not teaching children how to do music. Like I remember when my 2 kids, Stephen and Amy, were little, and there was always the mommy toddler little music programs. We'd drum, we'd have our instruments, and it was much fun. But this is something else. This is right. So I just want people to understand just how important this is, and also Connecting Through Music, and through is spelled THRU. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you mentioned calling you. Are you okay with our giving out your phone number on this show? Yes. I won't do it. You're okay?
No,
you
definitely.
Want to get?
Go ahead. I gave you Connecting Through Music's number, but you can call me personally, 305-299-9247, and I'm very open to it. You can text me or call me. Okay. I think it's important to be able to connect to the community, and that's what I'm here for.
I think so too, and this is why I so wanted you to have you back on the show, because I think it's really important work, and it's kind of, I think for probably most of us, it's kind of a new thing. I don't think many of us have been exposed to this idea, and so I think it's tremendous that you're getting the word out and what you're doing for the kids here in our community. And you answered my question earlier. I was wondering, since we're out for the summer, if there are still programs available while schools are out, but it sounds like there are summer programs.
We are in 4 different summer programs in Jacksonville, and we're also starting to create community groups